Hi everyone, this is Bocca from Knitting in France and welcome. This is the first time I do a video review, so I'm not expert at all in video recording, so bear with me. I just thought it might be fun and more instructive to actually see me use the products rather than just show you pictures on the blog. So today I'm going to talk about a company called Yarn Valet, and their website is yarnvalet.com. This is a company that was founded over 30 years ago, and they recently started manufacturing plastic knitting accessories. They used to work with wood, and they still do, but this is a new product line that is called Yarn Valet. And they have a number of products that I'm going to show you here. And there will also be a giveaway because they have generously accepted to offer one winner one of the items that I'm going to show you here today. So let's get started. Hi, so the first thing I'm going to show you is their yarn ball. So here it is. Looks a bit like a flower. You can see there's a little bit of, it's like a ball of yarn with some needles in. And underneath you have like this, it's like a plastic suction thing around. It doesn't really, at least not on my wood table, it does not suck and stick like a bowl for a kid, for example. But it does mean that it adheres somewhat to the table. So when I pull on my ball of yarn inside the bowl doesn't roll around the table. You know, it doesn't follow me around. So it actually sticks in one place. And you could even just put this on the floor and it would also stay put. This helps to keep your yarn clean. It avoids it rolling around your floor and picking up dust or cat hairs like in my house. And keeps your ball looking nice and beautiful. And you have two options for the yarn. You can either put the yarn through this little hole. See my finger there? So you could put the yarn through there, or you can have it go like I did. So I put it in here, and you have this little nook tuck. You see? And it's quite a generous size. I mean, you could easily put even a large, like a 600 meter ball in there, something that's like 150 grams. It would be quite comfortable in there. This is a 100-gram ball, but it's already been knit on, so it's not a full size. But here it is. I'm using the yarn ball while knitting on my Angelus Novus by Renee Callahan, which is East London Knits online. So I thought I'd just show you. So this is part of her Klee collection, her first individual collection that she publishes on her own, and those are inspired by an artist that she likes, and she has, I believe there are 6 patterns, and this is one of them, which is a shawl and it's knit using a DK weight, and needles, those are 5.5 millimeters or US 9, and those are Denise on the go, Denise interchangeable plastic needles that I'm using for this one, just as added information with the yarn ball. So what I like about the yarn ball is that it's sturdy, it's very lightweight. I can put it in my knitting bag if I want to for when I'm knitting outside of house, or you know, if I go somewhere. Because it's not fragile, I don't have to worry about it breaking. There are a lot of beautiful yarn balls out there in ceramic, for example, which are quite fragile. I have one, but unfortunately I use it more like a decorative piece with a beautiful ball of yarn inside. I don't actually use it that much because I'm just afraid it might break. So you can see I've even put my project in there. so fits nicely. Solid, very lightweight. It's not going to run away from you every time you pull on the ball. That is great. And it's quite nice. I mean, it's a simple design, but it does exactly what you want it to do. And the price point also on all of these products is very competitive, I think. A great option if you're looking for this kind of accessories, which are often costly because made by artisans and sometimes from precious wood or handcrafted in ceramic or something like this. So this is a great option. And next up is what they call a yarn dispenser. So this is like, I think I've heard this called yarn butler or something like that also. So it's a piece like this. So below you can see they have these little plastic feet underneath to make it more stable and to adhere more to the surface of your table or floor so that it doesn't move around too much. I don't know how useful this is, but I don't know if you can see this. Can you see here? It's like a ruler. So you have centimeters and inches. It goes up to 4 inches. And in centimeters, you have 9 centimeters. So if you're knitting on something and you don't have your ruler with you, you could possibly use this for measurement. Here you have these like small holes in them. I think you can maybe stick your needles in if you have, let me see. If you have a project you're working on the yarn dispenser, you could possibly leave your needles, you know, like this. So this is one piece, and then on top of it, you have the actual dispenser. So just goes on like this, and when you pull on your yarn because you're knitting, it just, well, this is I think this is better when you use I'm gonna show you. I think it's better when you use a ball of yarn and that you're using from the outside versus knitting from the inside of the ball, which, as you could see, it sort of tightens up and it doesn't spin as well when you're pulling on the inside yarn. So I'm gonna show you this using the yarn from the outside. That should be so much better. Here we go. So, do you see how smoothly this goes? So this is a bit like the yarn bowl because it keeps your bowl of yarn tidy and clean. It doesn't roll around the floor. So that's another option. I think basically they do the same thing. So I guess it just depends on your private preference, maybe. I think it really is a question of preference because they do basically the same thing. So you either have the yarn bowl where you pull on your yarn through a little nook on the side, or you can have the yarn dispenser where you have it like this. This could be very useful also if you're knitting from a cone because the cone you're not going to be able to use the yarn bowl at all with. But you could put a cone on here, like if you're using, I think it's haiku yarns or some of the Japanese yarns, or if you buy yarn from Color Mart online, often they have yarns that come on cones. And rather than wind them up into a ball of yarn, you could just put them straight on here on the yarn dispenser and knit them like that. So I think that would be the best use probably for this, although you can use it a ball of yarn like you can see. I use this is leftovers from a pair of mittens I knit for a Christmas gift and it worked fine. And I had this on my desk as I was knitting in between phone calls at work. And I liked it. This is the first time I have a yarn dispenser. It is, again, lightweight plastic, sturdy. It's not going to break. It doesn't run around away from you when you pull on it. It can easily go in your project bag if you're on the go. It's not too fragile. You know, you can just take it apart even if you have to. So I think between the yarn ball and this, it's mostly a question of personal preference. And if you use yarn on cones a lot, then this is definitely a very good option for you. Hi, and now it is the Stitcher's GPS. I think this is brilliant. I know it's possible to buy like a highlight tape that would do more or less the same thing. But I thought this was rather fun. So you have a pack of two. One is neon yellow and the other one, sorry for the noise, and the other one is pink. You have mostly the same. So here you have this big ruler, then you have 3 solid strips, and here in the end you have these like check marks. So that I think those are useful actually, the check marks, when you're knitting on something, for example, where you have multiple size options. I find it useful to use this to mark the size that I'm knitting, because sometimes, and this may happen to you too, sometimes if I'm knitting on something and then I take a break for a couple of days and I come back and I have this little doubt, you know, if I didn't mark it clearly enough in my pattern, am I doing medium or the small, or am I doing the large or the extra large? You know, sometimes I'm a little bit confused. So those are really good because it doesn't take up much space, and you can just put it right next to it. And in the pink version, so you have, again, you have these check marks, but this time they're transparent. So you could even put it on top of whatever number you want to put it next to, or on top of. And then you have these pink dots with nothing on them. You have the ruler again, and you have one solid strip, and you have, this one is actually transparent, and you have this one black line in the middle, so you can put this on top of your chart, for example, and so you can actually see the line below the line, and then the black line would be just on the line that you're actually knitting on. I'm not sure I'm explaining this well enough, but it is transparent and it does have this one black line in the middle for whatever line in the chart you're using. And then you have this one, which is mostly solid, but you have this transparent line in the middle, which could also be used for a chart to only see a specific part of the chart that you're knitting on. So you get 2 in a pack, and you get, you know, this is the part of the packaging, and inside they show you how to use this, and they give you ideas for how to use the dots. They say, for example, with regards to the rulers that you have here, that those can be good for checking gauge, for example. The see-through line strip, use this on a pattern chart to mark a specific line, like I said. What else? Yeah, the dots. They also say use the highlighter dots to mark your size when pattern gives you a number of sizes to choose from. So I think this is brilliant, and I'm showing you here. I showed you a hat that I knit for my grandmother's Christmas, the Flavia hat. So I'm already done, but you know, I used this, the pink strip here. And what's good about this is you can just move it around as you go. Well, I admit, after one pattern where there's nothing but charts, and you have to move this every time, after the entire pattern, it doesn't stick so much. So, or it sticks less at least. But you can move it around. See, I put it on here, and it's sticking. So I thought that was great because especially when I'm knitting from charts, I often get confused. I use a pen, you know, I make a little mark or a dot or somewhere to note where I am at and so forth. But to actually have like a ruler basically on just under the line that I'm knitting, it helped me focus more and just really see the stitches before and after and just where I am at. And I thought it was very convenient to just move this up as I went and then begin again and so forth. I have never used a highlighter tape when knitting, so I don't know how this compares to that, but I think this is really a brilliant use. And it just so happens that I bought 2 sets of these strips. So one was for me, and the second one is going to be part of the giveaway. So maybe you're going to win one of those. And now it is the final item that I'm going to present to you today. So this is the yarn ball winder. So again, it's the same material, the same plastic, the same colors. And so it's a tube like this. At the top you have a little groove and you have a little hole. And at the end here, you can open this up. See this. And you can actually use the inside to carry notions. You could put in a pair of scissors, a crochet hook, your stitch markers, you know, whatever you need on the go. So this can serve in your project bag, both as somewhere to keep your notions as well as a yarn ball winder. Again, sturdy, lightweight, perfect. So I also have, well, this is sometimes called a nosted pin, I think. And I already have one of those made out of wood. But wood is sometimes, just due to the nature of the material and the craftsmanship and the time it takes to make one of those, sometimes those are price prohibitive for people and so forth. Because this is plastic, it's a great price and it's sturdy, and again, you can just carry this around in your project bag and don't worry about it getting a shock if it falls to the floor or whatever. It's not going to break. And the fact that you can keep your notions inside, I think that's brilliant. You know, like a yarn needle or something like that. You know, the stuff that you just always need and have to carry around because you never know when you're going to need them. And it's so frustrating to not have a needle or to not have a pair of scissors or whatever when you're somewhere outside of the house and just desperately need them. So this is, like the name says, to wind a ball of yarn. When you have a skein, so I've got a skein here. This is actually yarn from Kettle Yarn Co., which is an indie dyer in the UK. And this is a yarn that I'm using to make a cardigan, which is called Brynja cardigan. And I've shown pictures of this on Instagram, and I think I've also put some on the blog. So You could either just put the yarn here over the top in the groove. See, like this, and that can be fine. But you also have the option, because there's this little hole, and that's what I'm going to show you. You can secure the yarn by just threading it on the needle and putting it through here. Oops. Like so. Up. So I pull on the yarn, maybe not quite so far, but like here. And the way I do, and I saw this actually because on Yarn Valet they have tutorial videos also on how to use their products, and I thought this one was good. So, do you see how I have it? I have the yarn coming down both sides, and I'm holding it with my fingers. And then I just, to secure the yarn, I just go round and round. Up, no pattern, just round and round. You see, like so. And then I go like this. Can you see? So I begin at the very end and I go across the top. When you go like this, it's going to end up with a ball that is sort of cone shaped. Whereas if you want a cake, like you get when you use a Swift and a yarn ball winder, manual one or a mechanical one, you get a cake which is flat on the top and flat underneath. So if you want that, you just have to be careful about the position of your yarn on the top, mostly, so that it stacks up nice, but sort of at the same level, so that it grows in width, but not necessarily in height, if you understand what I mean. So this is a good option for winding yarn on the go. Sometimes when you're traveling, it's easier to pack a skein of yarn rather than a ball, or you just don't have the time to wind it up before you go, or whatever, or you just happen to buy some yarn unexpectedly and must knit immediately. Well, this, if you have this in your project bag, you're good to go wherever you are. So, and again, same aesthetic, same lightweight plastic, same colors, good price, useful, just everything you need. And the Yarn Valet company has accepted to give one lucky winner a yarn ball winder as well. So one of you is going to get one of these. And before I go, I wanted to tell you that the Yarn Valet company works with, has a workshop with intellectually disabled persons. So they support their community, they support handicapped individuals make a living. And that is also something very positive and that I'm happy to support. So I definitely urge you to go check out their website, to see the pictures, to read the blog, to check out their own tutorials, which are very good as well, to see how to use their products. And they do have other products. This is not everything. They also have a pattern holder, which is a bit like this, except it has these closures on both sides. And instead of being narrow like the yarn winder, it's larger. and it's plastic, and you can actually put your pattern inside and follow it like this. I didn't buy one. I'm not sure that's something I would use, but why not? And they also have this thing called yarn keys, and those are quite brilliant, and I should have gotten those. You can use those to label yarn, for example. If you've lost the yarn ball, this, if you lost this, or if it's a skein or ball of yarn that you've knit, I don't know, half of or something, and you all know this, I'm sure. You have your stash, and then you have these half-used balls of yarn, and you have no idea where they come from or what it is. Well, actually, you could use their yarn keys, and you'd have to think of this, of course, before putting away your yarn in the stash, and mark them. And so so when you come to them in your stash, you know exactly what yarn this is. So that's a good idea too. So, yarn ball binder. So I hope you enjoyed the video review. I hope it wasn't too long. What do I say? Yeah, this was a try, and if you enjoyed this, I might just do some more. So I'd like to hear what you think, and I wish you all best of luck in the drawing for the winners. There will be two, so one of you will get the yarn ball winder, and the other one will get the Stitches GPS. So best of luck.